You're born from the sky and the earth themselves. A god's blood runs in your veins. You could crush mountains, forge lightning, and build the weapons of immortals, but none of that matters. Because the moment you open your single giant eye, your father looks at you with disgust. And just like that, you're thrown into the pit of the underworld. Welcome to your life. Welcome to what it means to be a Cyclops. You don't choose this. You don't ask to be a monster. You're just born that way. One eye in the center of your forehead, your body towering over all. But to your father Uranus, you're not his son. You're a flaw in his creation. He calls you hideous, dangerous, unnatural. So he buries you deep beneath the earth, sealing you in the darkness of Tartarus, the prison of the damned, and there you sit, surrounded by shadows and silence. You have the strength to split mountains, yet you can't break your chains. That's the first thing you learn about being a Cyclops. Your power means nothing when the gods hate your existence. Centuries pass. Then one day a voice calls to you from above. Zeus. He's fighting a war against the Titans and he needs help. He frees you along with your brothers Brontes and Steropes. Finally, sunlight touches your face again. And for a moment you think maybe things will change. He asks you to forge him weapons, not just any weapons, and the kind that decide the fate of the universe. So you build them. You craft Zeus's thunderbolt, Poseidon's trident, and Hades' helmet of invisibility. Each strike of your hammer shakes the world. Each spark is a promise that maybe the gods will see your worth. When the war ends, the gods win. And they win because of you. But do they thank you? Do they build temples in your name? No. You vanish back into myth. Forgotten the moment your usefulness ends. That's the second thing about being a Cyclops. You're never worshipped, only used. After the war, the Cyclops scatter. Some work in the volcanoes, forging new weapons in secret. Others live alone in mountains and caves, far from the world. You're one of them now. You wake up to the sound of waves crashing, sheep bleating, wind howling through stone. No voices, no people, no family. You're powerful enough to topple cities, but you can't even hold a conversation. You spend your days herding animals, talking to rocks, counting clouds. Humans call it peace, you call it punishment. And sometimes when you stare into the horizon with your single eye, you wonder if the gods cursed you to see everything, but to never belong anywhere. Then one day you hear footsteps. Strangers enter your cave. They smell like the sea, sailors lost and hungry. You invite them in, you feed them, and how do they repay you? They mock your eye, they whisper, they scheme. When you realize what they've done, rage fills your chest. You block the entrance, trapping them. You don't see them as heroes, you see them as invaders, trespassers on your solitude. But history never remembers that part. To them, you're just a monster. They say you ate their men. They say you were mindless, cruel, savage. But they never tell how Odysseus, and the clever one, waited until you slept, sharpened a stake, and drove it straight into your only eye. You scream so loud the mountains tremble, your sheep scatter. Blood and smoke fill your cave, and when morning comes, you can't see the light anymore. The one thing that made you unique, the eye that defined your entire being, is gone. That's the third thing about being a Cyclops. You were born a freak, live alone, and die blind. After that, everything changes. Humans tell your story as a warning. The beast who dared touch man. They forget that your kind once built the weapons of Olympus. They forget that without you, Zeus would never have ruled the sky. Now they just remember your name as a synonym for monster. But here's the irony. The same eye that made you cursed also made you see the truth. The gods don't care about beauty or loyalty. They care about usefulness, and the moment you stop being useful, they toss you aside. You realize that being a Cyclops isn't about one eye. It's about living in a world that only sees you for what you can do, never for who you are. Now your name echoes in myths and textbooks. Polyphemus, Brontes, Argus, but never as heroes. You're the joke, the one-eyed monster, the thing people dress up as for stories and fear for entertainment. You gave the gods their power, and in return they gave you loneliness. But maybe that's the real curse, not your eye, not your size, not your rage, but the fact that you could see the truth so clearly and no one ever cared to look back. So yeah, it sucks to be a Cyclops. You're born from the gods, but hated by them. You forge their weapons, but never wield them. You build Olympus, but never walk its halls. And in the end, your name becomes a warning, not of strength, but of sorrow. Because when you only have one eye, the world never lets you see it any other way.